Hi folks, Seth Leapson here. Thanks for watching my monologue. In these uncertain times, you may be thinking about personal protection. If you are, I urge you to visit my friends at Guns Etc. They'll help you find the perfect protection for yourself and your family, and they can even teach you how to use it. They've been protecting Arizonans for over 33 years, and they stand for the great principles this country was founded upon. Or you can just click on gunsetc.com. And if you like my monologues, please subscribe to 960 The Patriots YouTube channel. Welcome back. January 26, 2021. Remember all those cases, legal cases we're not supposed to talk about? They were dismissed primarily for such things as lack of standing. Lack of standing can roughly be described as the inability of a party to demonstrate to the court sufficient connection to and harm from the law or action challenged to support the party's participation in the case. Now, the House of Representatives has impeached someone for speaking about those cases that were dismissed and sent an article of impeachment to the U.S. Senate so as to try him in order to convict him. The irony. Read the article of impeachment. As Byron York has pointed out, the title of the case, the article of impeachment, in bold on the front page at the top, quote, "Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States for high crimes and misdemeanors," close quote. Problem. Donald John Trump is not the President of the United States. Then we get to the first paragraph of the resolution, which reads, quote, "Resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, ... close quote." The next paragraph says the same thing. The paragraph after that quotes the Constitution, saying the President of the United States, quote, "shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors," close quote. Detecting a problem? Yeah. The next few paragraphs detail conduct by Trump that occurred in early January when he was indeed president. And then another step back in time when the article says, quote, "Wherefore Donald John Trump by such conduct has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office," close quote. If allowed to remain in office. Donald John Trump is no longer in office. You can Google it. At the very end of the article of impeachment, the House says, quote, "Donald John Trump
would have
thus
us believe we're
warrants
incapable
impeachment
of
and trial,
guiding our own
removal
destiny.
from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy
They
any
practice
office of
government
honor,
by
trust,
mystery, telling us
for
it's too
profit under the
complex
United
for our
States,"
understanding,
close quote.
believing that
Removal from office, there they go again.
we created government
If
as
the
our
notion of
servant.
standing meant anything, or the traditional notion of redressability, connecting the proposed remedy or solution to a problem needing to be solved, this impeachment would be dismissed in a trice. Not only is the impeachment a farce
Beholden
on the
to
merits,
us
charging
and
incitement
possessing
to
no
riot
powers
over
except
events
those
that were planned
voluntarily
before
granted
Donald
to
Trump
it
even
by
spoke,
us.
charging
Now a
incitement to
self-anointed
riot over
elite in our
words
nation's
courts have
capital
never
would have us
considered to be
incapable of
incitement, charging incitement to riot over calmer language than actual words of incitement spoken by those who authored the articles of impeachment. It's a farce based on its own bill of indictment identifying Donald Trump as the president needing to be removed from office when he simply, in fact, is not the president. Why not impeach me? Or you? We have the same amount of power as Donald Trump. We occupy the exact same position in both public and private life. The exact same. We are private citizens who hold no public office or trust and control zero levers of political or military power, just like Donald Trump. If claims of election irregularity can be dismissed for standing, this impeachment indictment and bill now before the Senate should have never been brought. Now this whole question of what kind of revenge the Democrats are trying to wage against Donald Trump is another question altogether. There is, after all, a debate here. And there is as to what the future of the Republican Party will be, or even if there is a future of the Republican Party. It's frankly the kind of discussion that may provide fodder and topics for those who write and consult for a living or have contracts as contributors with cable news organizations, but it is in the main and end a fairly meaningless discussion. A party that began with Abraham Lincoln, founded on the permanent natural rights outlined in the Declaration of Independence and runs through Ulysses Grant and Theodore Roosevelt and Calvin Coolidge and Dwight Eisenhower and Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan and the Bush family and Donald Trump, is not going anywhere. We could probably do little better in understanding the party and its history and future than looking at or readopting the words of the first elected Republican president delivered at Independence Hall in Philadelphia in 1861, where he said, quote, "All the political sentiments I entertain have been drawn, so far as I've been able to draw them, from the sentiments which originated and were given to the world from this hall. I have never had a feeling, politically, that did not spring from the sentiments embodied in the Declaration of Independence. I have often pondered over the dangers which were incurred by the men who assembled here and framed and adopted that Declaration of Independence. I have pondered over the toils that were endured by the officers and soldiers of the army who achieved that independence. I have often inquired of myself what great principle or idea it was that kept this country so long together. It was not the mere matter of the separation of the colonies from the motherland, but that sentiment in the Declaration of Independence which gave liberty, not alone to the people of this country, but I hope to the world for all future time.
Hold on, let's take it. I want to
Was
get
that
a
which
picture of
gave
everybody.
promise
Oh, yeah,
of
just
new time, the weight would be lifted from the shoulders of all men. This is the sentiment embodied in the Declaration of Independence. Now, my friends, can this country be saved upon that basis? If it can, I will consider myself one of the happiest men in the world if I can help to save it. If it can't be saved upon that principle, it will be truly awful." Close quote. Truly awful. Let us draw it out a little further, as Harry Jaffa has done, writing, "The essence of slavery," Lincoln said, "was expressed in the proposition, 'You work, I'll eat.'" Upon his election as president, Lincoln was besieged by office seekers who drove him to distraction. Lincoln was blunt in his judgment of the great majority of them. They wanted to eat without working. Lincoln saw the demand for the protection of slavery and the demand for government sinecures
So
to
you
be
really
at
want to
bottom
do this.
one
You can appreciate
and the same.
just take advantage of
The origin of all constitutional
This is
rights,
Dennis Banner,
according to
DennisBaker.com.
Lincoln, was the right that a
You have to
man
donate,
had
cancel,
to own
get all your money back,
himself, and
reservations,
therefore to
whatever.
own the product.
So, my friends, let me
of
review
his
some of
own
your
labor.
calls here. Bob in New Hampshire.
Government exists
Have
to
you, Dennis,
protect
taken the
that
vaccine?
right
What do you think about not taking it?
and to regulate
I have not taken the
property
vaccine. I
only
was
to
hoping that I'd
make
get
it
COVID
more
from
valuable to
young people who live in my
its
home,
possessors.
and they just had it a couple of weeks
Today,
ago, but I kept testing negative.
The pro-slavery
Because of the
impulse
ivermectin,
still
ginseng,
governs the
and
Democratic Party, the party of
I'd much
government
rather have
sinecures.
the antibodies
It
only
is
to
the
having
party
had
that
COVID.
wants to use political power
I've
to
never
tax
spoken
us,
about
not
vaccines
for
in
any
all my career.
common
I've never
good,
taken it. It's
but
just
to
never
eat
registered on my
while
worry
we work.
scale. But this is a unique thing.
In
The
1981,
DNA is not-
Ronald
it's not
Reagan
being- we're
spoke
not
to
inoculated
this,
with the virus
represented
itself to produce antibodies.
this very
It's a DNA
sentiment
issue.
in
I'm not
his
saying it's not
and
good.
our day, saying
But I'm
the
only
one
saying
thing
that I
the
personally,
editorialists
will only
hated
take
and
it if I
criticized
can
more than
not travel
anything
unless
else
I take
and
it.
still do
So that's my
in
own
his
decision. I'm not telling
inauguration
anybody not to take
speech.
it.
And it's
I
the
would, however,
one
ask
thing
young
we
women to read
conservatives and
about
Republicans
possible
remember
issues with regard to
and loved more than
pregnancy.
anything
That's
else
the
from
only
his
thing we would ask to do
inauguration
research
speech.
before
He
they
said,
take it.
quote,
So that's
"In this
that's my
present
answer on that one.
crisis, government is not the solution
Okay,
to our
let's see. We
problem.
don't have time to
Government
take a call.
is
Too bad. I'd love
the
to take
problem.
more of them.
From time to time,
Began
we
the
have
show
been
with
tempted
the,
to believe that society has become
President
too
Biden
complex to
mixing
be
the Exxon
managed by
pipeline.
self-rule, that government
And
by
then
an
reading an
elite
article of a
group
man, an environmentalist,
superior
said
to
it cannot go
government
back
for,
normal.
by, and of
Normal
the people.
is to the left of the cross.
But if no one among us is capable of governing himself, then who among us has the,
Choose to travel 100 miles.
has
Would
the
you rather walk or drive?
capacity
Of course
to
you'd rather drive
govern
because it's faster and easier. So
someone
long as you're
else?
managing your weight the hard way with restrictive diets that leave you hungry,
All of
or
us
emotional
together
hangry, and
in and out of
frustrated.
government
One
must
easy
bear
way
the
to diet, then
burden.
introduce
The
Review Zone is
solutions
specially formulated
we
to help manage
seek
nagging
must be
cravings for unhealthy snacks
equitable,
or
with
extra
no one
calories. That's
group
your back.
singled
Developed by
out
gastroenterologist
to pay a
backed by
higher
2 U.S.
price.
patents. Review Zone is the only FDA-accepted product
We hear
that includes
much of
OEA,
special
the molecule your own body
interest
produces to help you feel fuller, burn
Our
stored fat,
concern
and help reduce
must be
cravings
for
for
a
fat and
special
foods. Review Zone comes with no
interest
questions
that has
asked,
been
30-day
too
guarantee of
long
satisfaction to stop the
neglected.
cravings and manage your weight easily with
Knows
Review
no
Zone. Use the
sectional
promo code Dennis to
boundaries
immediately
or
save
ethnic and
30%.
racial
That's
divisions,
reviewzone.com and an
and it
immediate 30%
crosses
discount and
political
free
party
shipping by
lines.
using the promo code Dennis at
It
reviewzone.com.
is made up of men and women who raise our food, patrol our streets, man our mines and our factories, teach our children, keep our homes, and heal us when we are sick. Professionals, industrialists, shopkeepers, clerks, cabbies, truck drivers. They are, in short, we the people, this breed we call Americans. The New York Times editorialized about those lines that they were, quote, a reckless script, close quote, 1981. All this is little different than when Donald Trump said at his inaugural 4 years ago when he spoke to the same sentiment, saying, quote, what truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. Close quote. We're turning the country to its owners, the people, based on their natural rights to govern themselves. How did Lincoln, or for that matter Jefferson, or their legatees arrive at the truths of those natural rights? By the way, they educated themselves in the works of authors like Plato and Aristotle, the Bible, Shakespeare, Euclid, Aquinas, and the like. The very things, the very works, the very authors we deprive our students of today, or teach them exclusively in order to deconstruct them, that is to say, prove how wrong they were, especially because they come from the bias of the thinking determined by the color of their skin, a color that is deemed to inherently determine and conclude in wrong thinking and racism, because of the color white. We, however, don't believe in anything like a white justice or a white truth any more than we believe in any kind of two or more tiered justice systems or subjective versions of truth summed up in the phrases such as your truth or my truth. We believe in justice for all. We believe in truth, period. And we don't believe, please God, that color of skin determines thought or conscience. We, after all, are not Marxists or National Socialists, and to the degree junk thought dominates so much of the Democratic Party today, we Republicans in the Republican Party are going nowhere, nor should we. I'm Seth Leibson. We'll be right back.